All right, so today we are going to do Module 7 quiz review. Remember, Module 7 is all about the triangle. We started out by proving triangles congruent. We used our nice little flip book. We talked about on the back side the different markings that you can add to diagrams. And then we finished up with the proofs, okay, with the 2-column proofs. So we're going to go through the review here, okay, and here we go. Top of the page, here we go. Number 1 and 2 says we're going to use the diagram over there on the right-hand side. It says to give 2 other names for line FW. So your first option is pretty simple. Your first option is to simply turn the letters around and make sure you have the same notation above the letters. Okay, that's the notation for line, the double arrow. So all we do is take those 2 letters and switch them around. Your second option is to use the word line. And then in the diagram, you're going to look for a lowercase italicized letter that matches up with FW. And I see a lowercase letter L. So I'm going to use the word line and then lowercase letter L. So that's 2 other ways to name that line. Okay? All right, number 2, give 3 points that are collinear. Collinear means they must be on the same line. So they have to be all lined up. And if you look at the diagram, they would have dots next to them. So we have letters F, letter B, and letter W. Okay? All 3 of those are lined up, and that means collinear. Okay? All right. For number 3, it says we're going to use this new diagram over to the far right here. And it says to name the rays that have endpoint H. So there's a couple things here we talked about. Number 1, your notation. Okay, the notation for ray is an arrow pointing to the right. Okay, so we definitely have that for all 4 of those. Next, a ray is 2 letters. And here's the tricky part. The end point means that that is actually your first letter. So we start all of those 4 with the letter H, and then simply go in every single direction. It does not matter the order you put these in. We would have HE, HI, HA, and HS. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter the order you have those in, but you have to have the notation above it. You also have the endpoint is your first letter for each of those. Okay, number 4, name the vertex. Let's start with that. So here's your picture. Name the vertex. First of all, the vertex is going to be a letter A. That is your vertex. And then it says you're going to name the angle 4 different ways. Well, this is actually one of the 4 ways. So we just put capital A right there. Next option is simply to look at the number that they have inside. That is your second option. And then your last 2 options, you're going to use all 3 letters, but the catch is letter A has to be the middle. So we have TAP, and then you can simply turn it around, PAT. So TAP and PAT, along with those 2, and you have your 4 ways to name the angle. Okay? Number 5, draw an acute angle. Okay, so there are 4 different choices that I could have. I could give you acute, obtuse, right, or straight. Those are the 4 different kinds of angles that I can choose from. Acute simply means less than 90, so an acute angle. So there's my acute angle. And I have to label it, and it's given me 3 letters, so I have to do 3 dots. And the only letter I'm really concerned about is the middle one. The middle one has to go at the vertex. The other 2, you could have switched those around, but you have to have letter A as the vertex. So that's acute. Okay? Then we moved on. So the next section has a lot to do with your flip book, okay? It has a lot to do with your flip book. You are going to be given this information, okay? I'm going to give that to you. All those are your 5 choices, but actually you have another choice. Your other choice is simply what if it doesn't match any of those 5, you are simply going to write the word none. First thing you're going to do is get your flip book out, go to the back side of your flip book, and if there's anything you can add to the diagrams, we're going to add. So what I mean by that is, number 1, if the triangles are not connected, if they do not touch, you do not add. So do not touch, do not add. These touch each other, so there is a possibility that you could have something to add to those. And for example, number 7 right here, that would be called a reflexive side, reflexive property. So that slash could be added to the diagram, and the same thing over here. We would put a double slash there because we already have a single slash on the other side. So now you're going to go back and see on the front part of your flip book, you're going to see if this matches any one of these 5. And if it doesn't, we're going to put none. Well, we have a side followed by an angle followed by a side. And that works for both of them. Number 7, I have an angle followed by another angle. Even though it's a right angle, it still counts. Angle, angle, side. And that works over here. Angle, angle, side. And then the last one, we have a side angle side on the top right. However, we do not have a side angle side on the bottom triangle. So that would be a none. You will want to look at the back of your flip book. You also have the bow tie. Bow ties have vertical angles. And so you may want to look at something like that. There could be that possibility as well. Okay, on the back side of your review, it says state what additional information is required in order to know that the triangles are congruent for the given reason. So we talked about this. I am going to give you which of the 5 it must be. You're going to tell me, first of all, what part is missing. So for example, this has an angle and another angle. So it has the 2 angles, we're missing a side. In this case, the side is not between the 2 angles. So what you're going to do is take one of the triangles, I don't care which, just pick one of them. You're going to give me a side that is not between those 2 and put a slash mark. Then you're going to go up here and you're going to name it. I'm going to name that LM. And it's a side, so I have a little bar across the top. And now I need to figure out which side matches this. Well, this is from L is my double arc going towards the letter that does not have anything. So that would be right here. But I have to make sure I name it correctly. So letter L had the double arc, letter T has the double arc, and then letter S. So there we go. Okay, so you're going to give the side that is missing one side congruent to another. This triangle over to here. Number 10, angle, side, angle. I take a look at the drawing. I see what has already been marked. I see what is missing, and it looks like I'm missing a side. I don't have any slashes on here, so I'm missing a side. The side must be in between the 2 angles. So it looks like I am missing this one, and I'm missing that one. You need to name it. Well, X, Y, with a bar. And now you'll notice I chose X, Y. X is the double arc, Y is the triple arc. So over here, the double arc would be L, and the single arc would be M. And now I have angle, side, angle. That is the missing part. Okay? Number 11. complete the congruent statement. So congruent statement means basically you're going to name both of these triangles. It gives you the triangle symbol. You need to name each triangle to make it really easy. Look at the markings. Which angle has one arc? That goes first. Which angle has two arcs? That goes next. Three arcs goes there. And do the same thing over here. One arc, two arcs, and three. And that's all you need to do. Okay? That's the congruence statement. This triangle is congruent to this one. Well, number 12, instead of giving me the whole triangle, I'm just giving you part of it. Number 12 says angle A is congruent to what? Well, A has two arcs, so I look over here and I see letter M has two arcs, and so I'm good to go. Okay, so your part, just what individual part of the triangle is congruent to what individual part. And then we finished up 7.2 and 7.3 talking about proofs. Okay, so proofs are kind of a breakdown of given information and what you're asked to prove. And then you're going to use your flip book, probably the back of your flip book, maybe, if there's anything additional we can add. If not, we're going to go straight to the front of our flip book and we're going to come up with the reason these two triangles are congruent. So here we go. Number 1, CA is congruent to GA. That is given. Okay, that is given. And it's also a side. I know that because it has the two bars across. It has the bars. So that is a side. Go to the diagram and let's mark it. So C to A gets 1 slash. G to A gets 1 slash. Next piece of information. RA is congruent to SA. And that is also given. And I know it's going to be a side. And I'm going to mark it. Well, I've got one arc already taken, so R to A will get 2 slashes. S to A will get 2 slashes. And you'll notice I'm done. I'm out of given information. So there has to be something on the back of my flip book that will help us to get one of our 5 ways that triangles are congruent. Well, we have a bow tie. And every single bow tie has this right in the middle. And if you look, those are called vertical angles. So vertical angles is actually the reason your statement is going to be, I need to name those. I need to name those 2 angles. To name those angles, I have to use 3 letters, and I have to make sure letter A is my middle letter. So let's just do CAR is congruent to angle. Now be careful, letter C would actually match up with G, and then A, and then S. And that's an angle, so we put that there. And now the last one. Remember, the last statement is always, always, always what you are asked to prove. So triangle CAR is congruent to triangle GAF. And for the reason, this would be one of our 5 ways to prove triangles congruent. Look at your markings, match it up. This is a side, followed by an angle, followed by a side. Do not go by the order that these happen to be in. Please make sure you look at your picture and match up the markings in your picture to one of our 5 ways to prove triangles congruent. Okay, and the last one. So here we go. RC congruent to HF. That is given information. It is also a side. So I go to my diagram, I find R to C and put 1 slash. I find H to S, put 1 slash. And then I move on to the next one. So here we go. RS is congruent to HC, that's given. It's also going to be a side, so I need to mark it. It looks like R to S is right here, double slash. And H to C is right there, double slash. Okay. And so I'm out of given information. So again, there's got to be something else I can add to this diagram. Well, right through the middle, that is a reflexive side. Reflexive property, but we just call it reflexive. We're good. That would be right there. And so I name that. So I name that side. CS is congruent to CS, which is also a side. Okay? All right, from here, I kind of jump ahead a little bit, and I look what I'm asked to prove. I'm asked to prove angle R is congruent to angle H. Well, in order to do that, I have to show that these two triangles are congruent. So, step number 4, name the triangle on the top, RCS, is congruent to triangle, and R matches up with H, and then SC, so HSC would match up with the top one. One of our 5 ways to prove triangles congruent, side, 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 that goes there. And the same thing with the proof above. What you're asked to prove is always your last statement. And we go to that last thing that we talked about in 7.3, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. CPCTC. Simply means once you have proven these two triangles congruent, anything else that does not have a mark is automatically congruent. R and H are angles. They would automatically be congruent by corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so you will want to look over your flip book, look over all the homework problems and notes that we took, and I think you should be in pretty good shape for this quiz. All right.